For us, I think the whole issue of the gender-based violence workshop is critical. Simply because, as you know, right on the heels of the Executive Director's visit, Dr. Babatunde Oshotainen, to the Horn of Africa with the World Bank President, with the UN Secretary General, I think there was one message that came out clearly: the scourge of gender-based violence in the region. And I think as UNFPA, we have a model responsibility, a humanitarian imperative, and a development perspective that we need to take to end this. Because this does not impact health, but it impacts economies, it impacts rights, one that we are custodians of. So I just think from a timing point of view, it couldn't be better. And for us, nothing could be more appropriate than to have our donor partners, our UN colleagues who are present here, and really a privilege to have the Swedish ambassador, Ambassador Johan Bokström, attending this meeting and delivering a keynote speech. We will also be shortly joined by Lisa Phillips, who's the head of DFID. Again, two countries that have been at the vanguard of really putting the whole issue of gender-based violence front and center. An important issue to keep in mind is that when we go back from here, I think we should go back with substantive knowledge of what we need to accomplish. I think we should go back with substantive tools of how we will do it. And I think we should be the go-to agency, and let me say this very clearly, when it comes to gender-based violence, we should be the agency that becomes the reference point. And just as you know, that from the SURF, I've recently got about $500,000, and I'm setting up a center of excellence, hopefully with the support of our regional advisor over here, Jessica. Can you just stand up so people know you? So Jessica has been seconded to us, and she's here as the regional advisor for gender-based violence. And, you know, link this up with the World Bank. We've been in touch with them. But to really set up that center of excellence, that center of excellence which I'm looking at is one that does the clinical and the health part. But there is a second and a very important part, which we don't do well enough, and that's the psychosocial part. Unless we really tackle the psychosocial edge of this, because, you know, I went to Kakuma, I went to Dadaab, and you see a lot of, Kakuma particularly, you know, a lot of these South Sudanese women who were coming there, you know, they just needed someone to talk to. They just needed to, you know, just to get that, the whole emotion, the whole trauma out of the way. And I think this is something that as an organization, we need to strengthen and be really experts at it. These are women that are psychologically scarred, totally traumatized, who need healing. And that healing is not just the surgical healing or the clinical healing. That healing is the mental healing. And finally, there's a third part. And the third part is dignity. We can't imagine dignity coming in a kit and saying, oh, we've given a dignity kit. In fact, I was quite surprised. Forgive me. I'm a few months old into UNFPA, and when I heard of dignity kit, I said, what is that? And a dignity to me is, we have found effectively an opportunity for that woman to find a life after that, life skills, training as a health worker, training in first aid, training in whatever skill sets so that she can go back into society and be accepted there. Because, you know, these are our realities. This is the reality. When I went to Kakuma, it was just mind-boggling. There was one room, which was near a cookhouse, set up over there for dealing with victims of GBViE, for example. There was no form of anonymity for these women. There was no form of real care in that sense. It was there. So that's why I'm delighted that we have a partner like the International Rescue Committee, which is really looking at how we will scale up that response. But again, for us as an organization, in terms of norms and standards, in terms of being able to really gravitate this into a global perspective, so that when Ambassador Bokström becomes the Minister of Foreign Affairs at some point, hopefully, I'm touching wood, you know, he will say, yeah, UNFPA is an organization to go to. This is where our expertise should be. This is a global malaise. It is not limited to Africa. I think I come from a country, regrettably, which probably wins the gold medal on sexual and gender-based violence, sadly. So it's a global scale. It's something that needs radical transformation, not just from schools to civil society, to governments, to law enforcement, but at every level. And I think we as UNFPA can really shape the future global agenda over the next few years.